Let's make some meatballs and gravy. Hello, it's Becky from Keats Kitchen, and today I'm going to show you a dish that my grandma used to make. It's called meatballs and gravy. It's really good and it's fairly inexpensive to make. So I don't know if a dish like this exists or if it's something she made up, but it's really good. So I'm gonna go through it and show you all of my ingredients real quick to make this. So I have 1 pound of ground beef, and I have a package of petite gold potatoes, and I'm going to pre-boil probably about 12 to 15 of these. I have a packet of McCormick brown gravy, some garlic powder, cut green beans, just 1 can, some salt and pepper, some ketchup, it's turned upside down because it's getting a little low, some breadcrumbs, 1 stick of salted butter, and 1 egg beaten. So my first step will be to make the meatballs, and I'll be right back and we'll get cooking. Okay, so I'm gonna start with making the meatballs. So I have my pound of hamburger in a bowl here. Just gonna start breaking this up. Now, to this I'm going to add the 1 egg that is all scrambled. Mix that up really, really good. Okay, wow, I've had a frog in my throat for a few days. So I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Now to this, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of ketchup, you see it. All right, and then I'm going to add 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs. Okay, I'm just going to mix this up really, really well, get it all blended together, and then I'm going to get out my muffin tin pan and spray it with cooking spray, and then I will bake. I'll form the meatballs, put them in the muffin tray, and bake them in the oven. But I'll get this all blended, and then I'll be back with that next step. Okay, ready to make the meatballs. So I'm going to take, probably about a 2-ounce ball, about like that. And I have my baking tin here, my muffin tin. And this is what I cook them in. And I did spray this with cooking spray so they wouldn't stick. The ground beef, I think it's like 85% lean, so there will be some fat drained off that'll be inside the pan. So you can use any type of beef that you'd like. Probably the leaner the better, but this is what I had. This is what I'm going to use. So anyway, just getting these meatballs ready, and I'll be back when it's all filled up. Look at these beauties, they are all ready to bake. So I have 12 meatballs. And as you can see, they're bigger. I made them a little bigger so they almost fill up the hole in the muffin pan. I'm going to bake these in the oven at 350 for 30 minutes. Oh, my meatballs are all done. As you can see, there's a little bit of fat drainage and I'll have to cut that off, but the meatballs are all finished. My water is boiling and I have about 14 young little potatoes here. And I'm just going to boil these until they're tender. I'm guessing like 15 minutes or so. I'll just be checking them with a fork, so just gonna let those boil. Now I'm getting ready to make the gravy for the meatballs and gravy. And I'm starting off with 1 stick of salted butter here in my sauce or skillet. And once this melts down, I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of flour and let it cook together for about 3 minutes so it browns really nicely. Okay, so this butter is all melted down, so I'm adding 4 tablespoons of flour, and I'm making a roux. So I'm just going to let that cook for about 3 minutes. Okay, so this has been cooking for about 3 minutes, and as you can see, the butter has browned. Oh, and it smells really good. So now what I'm going to do is take my packet of brown gravy. I'm going to sprinkle it in there. Give that a good whisk. Okay, and now, and I forgot to mention this in the ingredients in the beginning, I have 1.5 cups of beef broth, and I'm going to slowly mix this in. And I'm going to let that thicken up real well, cook it for about 1 minute. Okay, so this is a little bit thick. I've added another 1/2 cup of beef broth. Make that just a little bit thinner. On my grandma's recipe card, it says 1.5 cups of beef broth. But I'm thinking we need to go just a bit more. So now I'm adding a little bit more. There, that's more like a gravy. I'm going to let this cook down just a bit. Okay, I've got it to the consistency that I want, and I ended up adding about 2.5 cups of beef broth, almost a full box. I haven't made this in a long time, so I kind of forgot. So mix the 1.5 cups of beef broth and add a bit more, so about 2.5 cups. So now I'm going to turn the heat down. I'm going to let this simmer. I'm going to add 1 can of green beans. And then I'm going to add my cooked potatoes. Okay, and here's the meatballs. Oh, they turned out so pretty. I'm just gonna place these in there. I remember Grandma making this dish a lot. My grandpa really loved this, and like I said, I don't know if this is a recipe elsewhere. I think this was her creation. I wish she was here so I could ask her. Okay, so that is on low heat, and sorry, I disappeared for a minute. Hello, I'm back. Okay, I'm gonna cover that and I'm going to let that simmer for about 30 minutes. And here you go, folks. It is ready. Meatballs and gravy. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial today, and I will see you next time. Have a wonderful evening. Love you all. Mwah.